Today we're going to be talking about Magnus Chase and the Hammer of Thor. So this is the second book in the Magnus Chase series written by Rick Riordan, and this is my favorite book in this series. However, it is the book with the most glaring issues in my opinion, and we'll talk about that as we get into our discussion/breakdown. Magnus and the crew have been told that Thor's hammer is still missing, as it was missing in the first book, and they have to go find it. They do what they do best, and they travel around the 9 realms looking for it, but there is a catch. Sam might have to marry a giant in order to get it back. There's sibling bonding, fake weddings, romantic tension, and heartbreak. So much heartbreak. So my favorite thing about this book series, but specifically in this book, is the character moments. There are so many of them. This is the strength of the series. It is the characters. While I would say that for Percy Jackson it is like the plot and the world building that it's a strength, for this series it is the characters. They are so lively and vibrant and bright, and I love all of them so much. And my favorite character is introduced in this book, and she becomes a main character throughout the rest of the series. Every character interaction feels genuine and real, and there is a big issue with, like older male authors usually writing teenage characters and they feel a little off. And I never felt that way with Riordan. I always felt that, at least from Percy Jackson to Magnus Chase, they felt very real. I have some issues with the Apollo series, but that's a whole different topic that we're not going to talk about. One of my favorite things about this book is that we really do see Magnus and every character grow into their own a little bit more than the first book, because the first book was just, setting the groundwork, getting us to know the characters a little bit, but here we actually get to see them in their element. We get to see them interact with each other in ways that we haven't seen before, and we get some really good backstory and character moments, like I said. So we really do get to see Magnus grow as a fighter, as a leader, as a support. He really does get to shine a little bit more in this book, in my opinion, in terms of his medic / support role. He isn't built to be a fighter. He's built to be, like I said, he's built to be a bard. He's there to support his friends, and he's here to get them back into fighting shape. And Sam in this book is just, oh my god, she is so awesome. I love this girl so much. She is one of my favorite characters. The only person who is just a little bit better in my opinion is Alex, but that's just because we'll talk about that. So in the book, Sam is trying to become a pilot. She's been going to flight school, and she's doing her best, and when she's flying that plane, I can feel Magnus' soul dying a little bit, but I think it's fantastic. She's really in her element in this book, and there's a really good character moment on the Bifrost, which I won't spoil because it is a very important book, but it's so important to Sam's character. I just think that it felt so natural and real, and you just really can't help but cheer a little bit when it happens. And then there's Blitz just doing his best, getting creative, coming up with creative solutions for things. I did dislike that this is a semi-spoiler because it's at towards the beginning of the book, but spoiler warning here. He does get turned to stone for a good portion of the book, so he's really kind of taken out of the story for a little bit. But once he's back in, he is back in. Oh my god, it's great. For a while, I really did think that there was going to, we were going to lose Blitz, and then, of course, you can't talk about Blitz without talking about Hearth, and he has such a great character moment in this book. They travel to Alfheim, I think is the name of the realm. It's the elf realm, and in Alfheim, we see how he's treated by his family, by his peers, by, just society as someone who is deaf. And I think that this is a very important moment. They talked about how, people with disabilities generally get mistreated by the police. In this book, we get to talk a little bit more about police brutality, specifically against people of color and people with disabilities. It's handled in a way for teenagers, but with Blitz and Hearth, their friendship, kinship, partnership is just beautiful. I don't know what it is about them, but seeing them stick together, fighting together, being together, and just embracing each other at the end of that jump to Alfheim it felt really important to me. I don't know what it was. Like I said in my sort of summer review, you can really read into their friendship into very different ways. You can read it as just platonic love. You can read it as romantic love. You can read it as something more or something less. It is so powerful. I just love the fact that Hearth was willing to go back to the one place he never wanted to go for Blitz. They are the highlight of the series. For me, those two are like their character moments, their interactions, their plots, their backstories. They are the best parts of this book. And then there is Alex, who is my favorite character. She is so great. I'm going to be using she, her for this review, unless I am talking about specific moments in the books, because if you don't know, Alex is gender fluid. She is trans feminine, so she uses she, her pronouns unless you are told otherwise. I think she's fantastic. I love the sarcasm. I love the dry wit. I love her. I love how gaudy and bright she is. I really like that Magnus described her as almost like a poisonous reptile, you know, like very bright and colorful, but dangerous. I really did like the discussion on what it is to be genderqueer, specifically gender fluid and trans femme. For an old cis white dude, like it's not bad. It's genuinely quite good. And again, it's kind of sanitized down a little bit for, you know, middle schoolers going into high schoolers, but I have seen worse. I have. I really liked that, you know, Alex does make jokes about her gender fluidity, like, you know, talking, like Magnus asked her, like, oh, there's a plot point where there is a sword that cannot be drawn in the presence of a woman, and Magnus was like, can you, like, be a woman so that doesn't happen? And Alex is like, oh, yeah, sure, let me just turn it on. Okay, it's on, like, and she was like, no, you dumbass, like, I am a girl, like, I don't turn it on and off. I thought that was so funny. I generally, because that's some shit I would pull, and I think that's hilarious. I really do like that she uses she, her, and he, him, rather than just using they. And I really like that there was a discussion to why she doesn't use they, them. And while I identify as gender fluid and I do use they, them for the most part, I really did like that Alex was like, you know, that's not me. My gender is quite fluid, and so staying with one is not really being true to who I am. And I think that it's explained very well, and it is very in line with Alex's characterization. And this is something that I really wanted to talk about in my first review, but I couldn't because Alex hasn't been introduced. But like Alex and Sam, their siblinghood is so beautiful. I love it. I love how it's own, like, of course they have issues with each other because they're, you know, raised apart. They don't really know each other that well. They're kind of just thrown into the situation. You know, Alex is more flippant and uses more of their shared, like, you know, when I say they, I mean, you know, Alex and Sam's shared abilities through their parenthood, whereas Sam doesn't use them that much and doesn't believe that they should be using it. And but the mutual respect, the love, the siblinghood, the Cain instinct, oh my god, I think that they're great. I really do think that they really do show the duality of Loki, at least in this series, because you have Sam, who's cool, calculated, you know, she knows what she's doing, she always has a plan, she's, you know, ready to take charge. And then we have Alex, who is more, you know, fluid and chaotic and very much, you know, going with the flow, improvising on the spot. I think that this is a very, like, it shows like the duality of Loki as their shared parent, and I love them. I really do like that they have a very slow to trust bond, considering they don't really know each other very well. And, you know, Sam is like, you know, she's a child of Loki, and Magnus is just like, but you. But I really like that they forge this really strong bond together throughout the series. I just love them. And as much as I love this book and I love this series, this one does have the most glaring issues, in my opinion. And the one I'm talking about isn't the one that apparently people are talking about right now. I didn't even know about this until recently. My cousin was telling me, like, oh yeah, there's discourse around Magnus Chase. And I was like, oh yeah, this is old discourse. And then she was like, oh, the arranged marriage? And I went, I didn't even know you're talking about the arranged marriage. I'm talking about the hijab removal. In the book, there is a scene where, in the Hotel Valhalla, Sam takes off her hijab in front of Magnus. And she's apparently Magnus says, let me find it. It's pretty early on in the book. I hope I can... I'm not going to be able to find it. Anyway, I should have tabbed that earlier. Magnus ends up explaining that, you know, she sees the Hotel Valhalla as her second home and all the warriors within as her family. This is a trope that has been used in media before, usually to show kinship between a Muslim woman and a white dude. And I've only seen one person talk about this scene in particular in the same kind of way that I am, where they're just like, bad. I haven't seen anyone else up until recently talk about it, but I have seen Muslim women talk about the danger of this trope in other forms of media, TV shows, the like. This felt so tone deaf, in my opinion. It felt wrong. It felt wrong reading it. I was like, bad. That's just bad. I know that there is discourse, more recent discourse, about Sam and Amir's arranged marriage. I'm not even going to touch on that because I don't know anything about arranged marriages. I don't know. It's not part of my culture. I know one person who is most likely going to get an arranged marriage, mainly because she doesn't like to date. And that is the most glaring issue, in my opinion. That is the most glaring issue because it is the most tone deaf. It stops the plot for the sake of this trope. I didn't like it. Like I did in the first book, I'm going to put Alex as into a D&D ancestry and class and subclass. So for this one, I put Alex as a chaotic good changeling rogue with the arcane trickster as her ability. And the reason why, again, I gave Sam the same thing. I gave her lawful good. I gave Sam changeling because I did want her to have the ability to shapeshift at some point, but not to do like a full wild shape just like a druid. This is the same reason for Alec. I thought that druid wouldn't really fit her character. However, I think I would be like give her like 1 or 2 levels in, or like 3 levels in druid just to get her a druid circle and to give her wild shape because she does express interest in the outdoors, hiking, that kind of thing. The reason for arcane trickster is because magic mainly. I think that Alex isn't a like fighter, you know, just like front lines fighter, more of a backstabby potshot fighter. And yeah, that's what I think of her. This one was one of the ones I struggled a little bit more with because there didn't seem to be a subclass that fit her archetype that much. I did dabble with giving her the inquisitive archetype, but again, she doesn't seem like the type, and I did feel like arcane trickster fit her a little bit more, mainly because she does use her magic I mean her shape-shifting abilities and such, to be a little sneaky. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I do enjoy doing these like slightly more longer form reviews of books, and I hope to see you soon. And other than that, adios hermanos.